Welcome back to Master Manual, the podcast for aspiring GMs, wannabe GMs, and those just curious about the DM lifestyle. This is a podcast where we talk about Dungeons & Dragons and other role-playing games from the perspective of the game and or dungeon master. You know, we go behind the scenes. We talk about other stuff too, but that's our angle on it. So I do that. My name is Spencer Crittenden, and I'm sitting here with my good friend
Cohen Edenfield. That's me.
I know his name.
Yeah, no, it's good. I felt like I needed to hop in and start saying things because they have to associate my name with my voice.
I was gonna say your name, but then I was like, I don't want to rob that from you.
No, I need it. I need to declare my name. Otherwise, it sort of really puts a lot of power.
Right. I just read a story on the Magic website about dragons and how dragons know everyone's name, and that naming something gives you power over them.
Man, okay. So this has been. I guess we'll just dive right into this. So I just read I just finished reading the Wizard of Earthsea books, the Earthsea cycle, Ursula K. Le Guin, and they're great. But she was writing these in the 60s, the first few, and it's everything in it. It's oh, you name things and it gives you power over them. Dragons speak the true speech and all this shit. And it's everybody has just been cribbing this super hard. This is like Skyrim, Magic. It's it's everywhere, and it's weird because I googled
D&D definitely.
Oh yeah. I googled Earthsea Skyrim, and there was one person talking about it.
Yeah.
It's is this just not a known thing, or is it? It's one of those things where I don't know if it's everybody knows it and so they don't give a shit.
Yeah,
or nobody knows and they don't give a shit.
I think my instinct, which is an optimistic instinct, is that everybody does kind of know that everyone ripped everything off from Ursula K. Le Guin or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it. I only see it in text. But
no, I mumbled across because I realized I didn't either.
Le Guin, maybe.
Perhaps.
But I mean,
see, that's why we don't have any power over her, because we can't pronounce her name.
Well, we could steal her ideas. No, but I think that realistically, probably no one knows who she is, and it's actually just a great tragedy of history.
Yeah, see, I think, yeah, I agree.
I think people like us kind of get a sense of it, but even we're just scratching the surface on the true depths of what's happened.
Yeah, well, I mean, I played Skyrim 6 years ago, and I was like, this, or 7, this is buck wild. The dragons know everything, and then it's this is, I mean, and it's still cool. It's a cool execution of it, but it was kind of cooler when it was. I don't know. Maybe that was the thing I wanted when I was 22, and this is the thing I want when I'm 30.
Right.
It's you control the words of the very true tongue and use them to shoot a lightning bolt at a skeleton.
Yeah.
I think a little underwhelming.
It really. I don't know. I think it's very common. Isn't all fantasy tropes to an extent are stolen. I mean, not all of them, but it's everything we understand about fantasy is basically just a ripoff of Tolkien, to the extent that a goblin and an elf were basically the same thing back when they were just Irish folklore until Tolkien
he
turned
codified stuff.
Yeah. I mean, that's so pedestrian to say. This is going out on the air. We got to cut that.
No, it's fine. No, but then Earthsea, it's I feel like that's the first place where you get magical school. And now that's so pervasive.
Right.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
But it was kind of a novel idea, because she was, I read all the forewords and stuff. She was like, oh, I was sitting around thinking, where do these wizards learn?
Right.
Is it always a mentorship, or what if they had a place to go that codified things?
Mm-hmm.
It's neat.
Yeah.
It's sort of neat to trace shit back. Oh, okay, that's why there's nothing like this before this.
Right. I nodded, which is great podcasting.
Well, it was good for me.
Right. Yeah. What else? So we talk about dumb stuff at the beginning. I mean,
I guess we just did that.
I just am right now. I'm just saying dumb stuff. What else? The Magic the Gathering is maybe coming out with a new book. I don't think they've decided on whether or not they're going to do it.
Wait, Magic is, or Dungeons and Dragons?
Dungeons and Dragons, sorry. Dungeons and Dragons is putting out a source book for the Magic the Gathering's World of Ravnica, which is a plane of existence in Magic the Gathering, a trading card game.
That's neat. I've been getting into Magic a little bit solely from you. I assume this means they will eventually get around to, how do you say it? The one place I know about?
Ixalan.
Yeah, Ixalan. Let's go ahead and get to that.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if they did Ixalan. Ravnica is one of the most popular settings in Magic,
Yeah.
I think. So it's a common first one.
They announced that, and they're doing Eberron for 5th edition.
Right,
Finally.
which I've been excited about. I mean, Eberron's probably my favorite campaign setting. If you listen to the Harmontown podcast, our current campaign is set in Eberron.
Oh.
So, yeah.
I'll get around to it.
You don't have to.
No, I'm working my way back from 2012.
You're busy.
No, I mean I'm listening to it like a few hours a day.
He's always just busy.
There's just a fucking lot of it.
Yeah.
No, Eberron's what? That's like magic trains, basically.
Magic trains, robot people.
Warforged is the
Warforged.
big thing.
Yeah. Dragon stones is kind of like the underpinning of everything. It's cool. I don't know. It's a really fun setting. I would even recommend the 3.5 splat book for the Eberron campaign setting.
Wake me up when they get a Dark Sun.
Oh, yeah. I mean, one of these days. Yeah. No, I mean...
No, I know they're working hard and they're doing a good job, and they've got... I'm certainly not going to tell them how to make Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, I'll be the bad cop, and you aren't working hard, and you are doing a bad job.
No.
And the only way to rectify this is to put out Dark Sun instead of the Magic the Gathering source book.
I mean, look, we have a lot of... We both have friends at Wizards and
nope.
Hasbro. And...
I only have enemies.
No? Okay. Well, I do. And I'm not going down for this.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm dragging you down, buddy. Well, you want to crack into some questions?
Yeah, I think we've established ourselves as fucking
yeah, this is
masters.
Podcasting, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
We're doing it. They can't prove us, or they can't say we didn't podcast. And aren't currently. Well, actually, we wouldn't be. Sorry, everybody. Motes Fotes says...
On Instagram
says, I find I have to constantly check my players, I know they're flubbing dice here and there. Have you dealt with this? What did you do? So, on Harmontown, I roll all the dice.
Oh, that's good.
I don't recommend that even.
I right now I'm DMing over Skype, and we don't use like Roll20 or anything. They just roll their dice.
Honor system.
Yeah. Well, the big secret for me is my trick is not giving a shit. Like it's like we're just having fun, and it's like if somebody needs to do that and they're doing it a lot, but like everybody's doing it, I don't know. You can have them just roll it in onto the middle of the table. I mean, that's fine, but also it's just, I don't know. If somebody's claiming 20s all the time, that kind of takes away some of the dramatic weight.
Yeah, well, that's why I assume he has a problem with it. I mean, you could get a dice tower, right, or whatever, like a dice rolling thing, so that everyone just does it the same way, and it's kind of in the middle, and that's just a new convention.
Yeah, that's a nice passive-aggressive purchase.
Yeah, it's like, but that's the thing is, like, ultimately, it's like, what? I mean, they're just cheating. Is the problem?
Yeah, just say stop fucking cheating, guys.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem tenable. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, to a certain degree, like there is. I have not met a fucking group that did not have a playfully adversarial relationship with their DM, because that's just the natural thing that emerges. And even if you like them, I mean, actually, my DM right now, we don't have that, because he's like incredible. He's just super nice. And it's hard to.
So that's a big problem for you then.
No, I've stepped up as the adversary. I'm actually playing a neutral evil character.
Oh,
I switched to that, and
people love that.
Well, I don't play a big like, wow, set everybody on fire. It's just he's motivated by self-interest.
What self-interest would you say?
He's not going to die for anybody.
Right. And what, monetary greed, kind of?
Yeah, like he was born rich. Like I gave him the noble background, and so he's always like finding a way to get paid more. He's
like Eddie from Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, kind of. I sort of based him on the Baron's nephew from Dune. I have no idea. It's FEYD dash something. I don't know. Anyway. A fancy shitty boy with magic.
I gotta read Dune.
Yeah, it's sick as hell. I really like the first one.
Yeah.
And then the others are interesting, but much more of a chore.
I don't know. I feel like I'd have to read the whole thing. There's so many things I'm like, I gotta just do the whole thing, and then so I just never do it.
It took me a long time to read all of them because I read Dune when I was in high school, and then I tried to read the second one and crapped out. And the next, like a couple of years later, I read 1, 2, and then crapped out on 3. And it took me, that was the process I repeated all the way up until finishing the series like last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not worth it then. I don't know. I guess I
There's
feel
cool
like that
shit
about Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I can see that.
Well, but okay, so you could just call them out, right? You could buy the dice tower. You could roll the dice for them, which I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work.
You could remove dice rolling as a mechanical mechanic in the game.
That's probably not going to work.
You just pick all the numbers.
I feel like your
6.
dice tower is good. Just put it in the middle.
Or you could just do both. You could be all like, you guys are fucking up. This is going to solve all the problems.
Yeah.
You got to roll it through the dice tower.
Yeah, be open with them. Be like, yeah, here's what it's. It can be kind of a joke, but also not really a joke. That's why you're doing it.
Yeah. Also, how are they flubbing? Like if they're rolling it right next to them and picking it up or something, be like, what the fuck? Like
roll it into the middle of the table.
Yeah, just be like, it looks kind of like you're cheating right now. Because but I mean, a big part of DMing and Dungeons and Dragons anyway is that the hard parts are actually just the social dynamic parts.
Yep.
So like if someone was, say, stealing at a party or like being a douche or cheating in a party game or something, that is just an awkward situation that you'll have to untangle. I mean, that's not supposed to be a cop-out. That's just to say, like, these kinds of issues are sticky and they don't necessarily have straightforward answers because they often relate to the social dynamics of the group itself.
Yeah, it's like, hey, it's like you're asking, hey, I have a friend at my party who always drinks way too much.
Yeah.
And causes a big ruckus. And it's like, well,
maybe you should talk to him, or maybe you absolutely shouldn't.
Yeah, it's I don't fucking know. I'm glad you asked about dice and not that other thing.
Right.
Yeah, just have him roll into the middle of the table, or get a dice tower and put that in the middle and have them use it.
Yeah,
dice towers are fun. People they might not even understand that you're doing the thing.
Right. Yeah, I like dice towers. I built one with my dad, and then it was like forever cursed. Like one time we rolled 9 critical fails in a row.
Jesus.
Which is, if you crunch those numbers, that's like impossible.
Yeah.
So it was really funny. It was also playing 4th edition, so we were like, 4th edition is cursed. But yeah, that was it's a cool dice tower, but I don't know. It has a lot of broken family memories. Let's just sit in that silence.
No, it's good. I was taking a drink.
I just want to be sad about my dad.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Tristron22 on Instagram asks,
I'm glad we helped that person.
No, actually, I got that wrong. Yeah, no, I hope that helps. It probably helps a little bit, but not too much. We don't want to be helping too much.
Yeah, it sounds like you got a rough situation there. I hope that it's resolved. You know what? Right, let us know how that plays out, actually.
Yeah, no, actually do that, because I think last episode we talked about, but like, we want to get specific about people's issues when there's questions like this about a personal problem they're having, because that'll help us answer it better. And also, I think it's good to learn how it shakes out, because that'll know if we're doing a good or bad job.
Yeah, if we need to course correct, or if we're doing just really good. Both would be good to know.
We want to. I was gonna ask a question, but then I realized we should break into our first segment.
Oh, shit.
You ready for that?
Okay, yeah. Wait, what are we doing?
We're doing the nameless segment.
Oh.
It's the segment without a name.
Where we don't have names also.
Right. And we don't have a name for the segment, and we don't have names. Well, we got to come up with names.
All right.
This is a segment.
What's my name?
I'll call you Cohen.
Okay, your name is Daniel.
Okay, Cohen and Daniel.
No, that's too weird. That's my father's name. I don't know.
It's also the name of the person's office we're sitting in currently.
Oh, is it?
I don't know if that's what triggered your mind. So Cohen and Daniel, we're going to do the nameless segment.
Weird. It's too weird. It's my dad's name.
Cohen and Jerry, we're going to do a nameless segment. It's the name of the segment where we improvise a bunch of names. Feel free to improvise your names too, and you can tweet them at us at fill in the blank when we figure out social media. And just let us know what you come up with, because it's funny. As a DM, you got to make up names on the fly, so get some practice in with us.
Yeah.
I'll go first because I think you went first. No, I think I went first last time, but I was really embarrassed, so I want to do better.
All right.
Brunor Stenson.
Shit.
No, that's like a copy of a 4th edition. Like, I don't know if you spell it Brunor, but that's just straight out of the 5th edition book. Okay, so how about Bo Ruffles Stenton?
Bo Ruffleston?
Bo Ruffles Stenton.
Bo Ruffles Stenton.
Yeah, first name Bo Ruffles, which is a copy of my friend's name, but I'll count that.
Okay. Laxspittle Dry Dick.
That's amazing. That's so much better.
That's
Okay.
probably not like the hero of the realm.
No. Yeah, Higgles Biggles Bottom. That's like obviously a gnome, I guess, huh?
I mean, it could be. It could also be like a giant.
Yeah.
He's like the gnome of giants. Would that just be a human?
Well, yeah, no, it would be taller than a human.
That was
and it
my-
would be gross looking.
That was my theory for Attack on Titan. I don't think it ended up being true.
What?
Was that all the humans were just like very small,
Oh,
and that
Titans?
the Titans were like human sized, and
Yeah.
that they were like, this was the prehistoric species like that we killed off, and then
Right.
it would do kind of a fucking Battlestar Galactica at the end.
And that is what happened. So, spoiler alert for Attack on Titan:
No.
prehistoric humans.
No, I think they're
No, it's not.
I think they're full. It's just a bunch of war, right?
Yeah, spoiler alert: it's a bunch of war.
Okay. The Vorsmith.
The Vorsmith,
Yeah.
maker of exotic porns.
Well, he produces he he fashions large mouths to die in.
That's amazing. Randy Philbrook, which is just like, I mean, he's like on a student.
He's like here to.
council or
He's
something.
like your manager,
or like
who's
a contractor.
Yeah, he's like it's we're gonna be out there between 2 and 5. You're gonna need 2 pieces of mail with your name on them. Leave a key in the gutter. Randy will find it.
Shuley Sputters. That one's better than the last couple of pulls I've had. I mean, I don't want to toot my own horn, but that was garbage until that, I think.
Okay. Myona Horn Tutor.
See, mine was just, yeah, that's great. You're just coming off, you're just solid out of the parks and base hits. I just am barely getting.
I just literally refashioned the sentence you just said.
That's because you're a good improviser. That's what it takes.
This is the one thing in which I'm good at that.
Purdue Union.
Oh, that's good.
No, that's a college.
Rollin' Skip and Skate.
Rolling, skip and skate. He's skipping, skating right past it.
And he's rolling.
Yeah. That would be a good, robot butler, I think.
Oh, that'd be good. Ooh, a robot. Ooh, here's a good character. It's a Warforged who was like a servant.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, for servant, he was like locked up in the mansion and everybody died from a plague and he's just been like inert.
Uh-huh.
And then he joins your party and is like showing you around the mansion.
Right.
And you have to like sneak around him because he's being really helpful, but you're there to like rob it.
Yeah.
Desecrate the tomb. So you have to like observe the manners and like look around and try to figure out what are the social graces that this robot is expecting.
Right. So you don't tip him off.
Yeah, because he just like goes into like being he doesn't track because they didn't program him to care that 3,000 years have passed.
Right. Yeah.
So he's just like trying to like show you around and show you get you a nice set of tennis linens and all that kind of shit.
He loves tennis linens.
Yeah, I mean, I
Did he have a name that you were basing that off of?
Porter.
Porter.
Yeah,
I like it.
I always like single names as like weird single names like that.
Especially for robots, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Porto is the name of a character I was in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
You're on Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
Yeah.
What?
No, for like 2 seconds.
Oh shit, that's right. I
Yeah.
remember that. I was like, oh shit. I was like, I think that's Spencer.
Yeah, it was. I was a named extra. I wasn't like a nameless extra. I got a name. That's
Fuck.
better than I mean.
Also, you got named after like the really good bakery,
Oh yeah.
so that's good.
Awesome. It's like one of my favorite bakeries and characters in television. So
Head on down to Porto's if you're on Magnolia.
So Porto is a good name. If Porter's a good name, and Porto is also a good name.
How about a Porter when he's destroyed? He gets destroyed,
Mhm.
and then they build him back up, and then he's Reporter.
Nice.
And
Okay.
now he wants to find the story.
And then he lives in a porterhouse.
and he eats porterhouse steaks.
The house makes them. So that was the nameless segment.
That was we really
I like it.
Feel free to apply any of those to your.
As you can see, we're masters at this, and I'm sure you'll want to steal those for your campaign.
Yeah, no, feel free. Let us know how things turn out for Roland Speak and Say or whatever it was.
Skip and stop, something like that.
Sled.
Skip and stop and skip, maybe stop.
Stop and skip sound like twin evil Transformers.
Yeah,
They would be sold together, and they like merge. Transform into each other,
and they're like Psionics bees or something.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
hell yeah.
If you remember the name that we couldn't remember, tweet it at us at the name that we still haven't come up with yet.
It's gonna be in there.
It will be. It won't be. So next question.
All right, what do we got?
Let's crack on. Tristron22 on Instagram asks, how do you feel about rolling dice against other players? For example, if one character wants to convince another character to do something, do you allow them to contest persuasion rolls, or do you not allow that? Personally, I feel like it takes away from the player's freedom if another character can just roll the dice and force them to do something they don't want to, but I found not everyone agrees with that. So I think that there are either variant rules or like a couple lines in the rules that suggest that this might be an option, but I don't think even the way they word it, I don't think they say like definitely do this, because I think they want to stress that it's not like the standard way of interacting with players.
Yeah, I don't love it. I think those generally. Oh shit! A skateboarder just went past.
That dude's rad.
Yeah. Generally, I like the characters and the mechanics that your characters have for interacting with the world and the NPCs are not really tuned to be turned against each other.
Right. I would even say I don't like the concept of persuasion rolls against NPCs. Like, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm just like, I think it's stupid that if you're role-playing an interaction with someone and you just don't make any sense, that then it's like, oh, I'm the plumber in a world where plumbing doesn't exist. Like, that doesn't just convince someone.
Yeah, well, in that, here's what I do is, if this is off track, but for NPCs,
I think this is good.
I listen to their pitch, and then based on that, that's what I set the DC at, the number that they have to beat.
Right.
So if their plumbing doesn't exist and they come in and they say I'm a plumber, it's like, well, okay, this is fucking 50 because this isn't.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I do, but I think I don't even think about it in those terms. But the same result.
It needs like an internal logic, or they need to be barreling through, or it needs to sell. They need to sell it.
Needs to track.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, before I knew about Dungeons and Dragons, I used to kind of run role-playing kind of games with my friends, and I was essentially the DM, and basically everyone succeeded as long as something tracked. Like, if it didn't make any sense, it wouldn't happen. Like, if it was like, oh, I jump off the roof and I want to land with someone, like, on my dagger, and then I want to, like, surf on them, like, up a staircase or something, it's like, no, you fucking fall. But if it's like, if it was cool and it made some amount of sense, it's like, well, yeah, I mean, I could see that happening.
Yeah, and if you're not trying to do that stuff all the time.
Right. You don't want to exploit that, obviously.
I would say that if it comes down to this is sort of similar to the last thing, because this is essentially trying to find a game mechanic solution to an interpersonal problem.
Right.
I think there's the charm spell. That's a different thing.
Right.
But that's like saying like, oh, you are now in a different malleable mental state.
Because that's not social. That's almost like you can't say, oh, you can't do a strength test against, like, if you really were to fight the other player,
you will kill each other like immediately because you don't have hit points. You don't have enough hit points. That's not how it works.
Right, but we shouldn't say like, oh, don't let that happen. But for specifically persuasion rolls, like social stuff, I don't think you should be able to socially screw people.
I think you should be able to deceive them.
I was going to say, yeah, why does I was saying different. That? If you lie, because you need to just have options. Like, you can't let everyone just argue about everything that's going to happen and not let anyone do anything they want. And deception kind of lets everyone do what they want.
You roll deception against their perception. Mm-hmm. They see through your bullshit. They don't have to trust you, but they can't tell that you're lying like why specifically you're lying.
Right. But again, it's social, it's interpersonal, and so you say that not everyone agrees with that, so maybe you're coming from a place where your group is kind of mixed on that.
Here's I would say, so like another thing, like let's say you did a performance.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to impress the other people in the group with my performance. You know, I get it like a 25. You know, I rolled really well. And so objectively in universe, I played the lute well. It's still up to them to respond to that how they want.
Right.
I can make a very persuasive argument, and it's up to them to take
Persuaded?
that as they will. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's just, I mean, you can't just take too much agency. I think depending on what's happening, like with if you, like, a character wants to turn evil, or if like there's mind control or something, or someone's playing a mole, there's something you can do to kind of compel character actions against their will, like, or if someone's charmed by an NPC character or something, you know. But generally speaking, I think you just want to let people do what their characters want and work that out, because that's almost the game, is fighting about what the party's going to do.
Yeah.
You know, you can't circumvent that.
I have this, you know, dark vision of like a person with a really high charisma stat controlling the other players in the party because they're just constantly doing persuasion checks, and then just turning everybody else into their, and then, you know, those other people just quit because that sounds like bullshit.
Yeah, it is bullshit. So
yeah, basically, like, if you're trying to persuade, don't. It should be up to the you should be calling the skill checks anyway. They don't say, I want to make a persuasion check.
Right.
They make their thing, and they make their case, and it's up to you to decide if they get to make a persuasion check.
Yeah, but also I think you just hit on a good point initially, just that it's the world isn't designed for the player versus world rules to be used against the players necessarily, especially in terms of persuasion checks. That's a huge abstraction for a lot of role playing, you know, crunch.
Yeah, it's an attempt to the social roles are there to simulate social dynamics with what is essentially a blank slate being given life by the DM. You don't need to roll to simulate social mechanics when you're role playing with another person. You can just talk to them.
Right. So that kind of feeds into this question, maybe, which is asked by Frank_Caffery_ on Instagram, which is, how do you as a DM deal with a character being possessed/replaced when it needs to be a secret? So I've never really done too much of this, but I understand note passing can be really good. Obviously, that's something that you have to be able to manage as a DM to be able to implement, but like being able to secretly pass notes without people noticing, you know, maybe even before a session or something.
Yeah, texting works.
Right. Texting is great, especially if there's like a precedent that makes it not look strange or whatever.
Yeah. A character being possessed, what was it? Being possessed
or replaced, which is maybe like by an imposter or a doppelganger.
I would say, personally, I would not do this in the long term because you're basically taking away somebody's character.
Right. I think there's times where people want to do stuff like this, but yeah, generally speaking, if it's top down, I don't know. I
had in a couple of sessions ago, I had a character pick up like a powerful artifact.
Right.
And they, like, when they picked it up, they were like, it like basically like prevented them from being able to do anything because it was like just, you know, washing over them with arcane energy, and like they were just sort of sitting there thinking how great it was to be holding that. Right. So I let that play for like, it was in a fight, and I let that play for like 2 turns just to kind of get the point across with these things, and then they were able to start doing will saves. And also the other players helped them. But if that hadn't happened, I think I would have like been like, you know, you're increasingly resisting this.
Right. So like a time frame adjustment is maybe something you can do. Well, I wonder what they want to know about dealing with it, because they say when it needs to be a secret, as if keeping it secret is the important, like how else, because I'm just trying to think, like when I think about this problem, I think about like in the past when I've had charmed or confused players, they don't always RP that very well
for the same reason we were just talking about.
Right.
It's a weird thing.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean, there's got to be some happy medium, like, because I don't want to just pilot their character as charmed, but if like, if they're charmed and they're supposed to be helping in a fight or whatever, which I don't know about 5e, but in a lot of other editions of D&D, that's a pretty standard scenario that can play out. A lot of monsters have charm and stuff, dominate. But it's I don't know, but that's a problem I've had, but I don't have an answer to that.
I'd say the problem is that what you're suggesting here is, if this plays out, then the player has to keep it a secret that they've been dominated.
Right.
And then they need to act as the NPC pretending to be themselves, but following your instructions. It seems fairly convoluted. I think the way to do it would be to just you control the character and you tell the players what's going on, and they role play as if they don't know what's happening, because that's the game.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to part the curtain a little bit and be like, this is what's happening.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes into what the tone and the vibe of your campaign is. I feel like outside of D&D, maybe in Call of Cthulhu and other paranoia kind of more stuff like this might make more sense. I wonder if those rule sets have any wisdom to share. I certainly don't have access to it, but I just I don't know. It just seems it's a tough scenario. So what you said is use it sparingly, which is smart.
There's a reason the charm effect is really easy to break.
Right. Yeah, and it has a lot of built-in limitations and stuff. But I don't there's got to be a real answer for keeping it secret. I think you got to go before the session. You reach out to that person and try and get some sort of buy-in. And then if you have their buy-in, then you go for it. If you don't have their buy-in, it's kind of hard to get someone to keep a secret, It
also might not be super fun to have that happen, but if you're told beforehand, it's hey, when this happens, a demon's going to control you, and at that point here, and you tell them what the demon's motivations are and ask them if they're okay with that.
Right.
That can be kind of a weird situation. Same thing with the persuasion check is telling somebody how they have to play their character, or
right.
Taking away their agency and how they're playing that character can break pretty bad. I think,
definitely.
in a way that might not turn into a fight. They might not even say anything, but it can feel really shitty, I think.
Yeah, I actually hate that about perception. I mean, I don't have a good answer to that, but that because it just seems always if you give someone a low perception roll or something, it just makes them think the wrong thing, and it just doesn't get anyone anywhere.
Perception or persuasion?
Perception. Did you say persuasion?
Yeah, I was still thinking about
my bad.
That. No,
I was thinking of perception. I was thinking about I guess something completely different. So sorry, everybody.
No,
this will cut out.
No, you're thinking about you're telling them what they can't see.
Yeah, and then when they get a sense that they're because it's giving them a false perception, but that sets them up wrong a lot of times for what your purposes are. Which is just well, now I'm just lying to them, and they trust that I'm telling them the truth to an extent.
My trick on that is all the other skill checks. They're not a thing that the player asks for.
Mm-hmm.
I tell them when to make a perception check. If they come in and they say, I want to make a perception check, it's you want to look. You look. Look. Tell me what you're doing.
Right.
When you're doing it, I'll tell you to make a roll, and I'll tell you.
Right. That makes sense. Yeah.
It's
because you're interpreting their actions, not their game actions.
Yeah, that's the problem with metagaming. Is people can trend towards the things that they're good at while they're still playing their character. But when they start doing I want to make a strength check to open, it's no, you want to open the door, and then I'll set the thing, and that's more fun anyway. I feel we're just used to video games have trained us to when you try to pick a lock in Fallout New Vegas, you're not thinking, okay, I'm going to get out my lock pick and think it's oh, I'm going to engage with the mechanic.
Right.
I'm going to turn these tumblers and listen to the sounds, but I'm not really picking a lock. I know what my lockpick skill number is, and it has to hit this. And
yeah, I feel as a player I bumped into that pretty hard, and it was hard to correct. I think I got a little bit better. I don't know how great I am in that. I'm usually more of not a heavy into the actual RP, talking in character voice, and kind of I'm more just I search the room, and so I'm bad in terms of that, but I don't like it as a DM.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully the answers. Well, any last thoughts? Keeping it secret. I think I know someone who is a DM. I can't think of who they were. I'm sorry. Who did a lot of notes. So they just always did notes to people. Like maybe it was like, oh, a bird goes by, and so in that thing, there's so many false positives, so many notes that don't mean anything, that no one knows what any note is supposed to mean. And then part of the system of notes was kind of not sharing them outside of the game. Like if someone passes you a note, you don't just read the note out loud. So then the convention is there's notes that are happening. Some of them are like a good like clue or a bonus that you might not other get. Sometimes it's like, oh, you're going insane secretly and don't tell anybody. But then that's also, it just depends on your group. I can imagine. I think in Harmon Quest, that's what I wanted to say. In Harmon Quest, what we do is we give like an outline to the guests beforehand. And we say like, you're a thief, you steal stuff. And then at this point, you're supposed to turn evil. And so it just is like turn evil. And I feel like I don't know if you could do that exact thing, but something like give someone a cue to do an action and just let them. But I just think in a real
I think
game,
that works better with like NPC guests who are playing one time.
Yeah, that's
than,
the thing. You give so much of the reins away to players in that scenario. That's a lot more risk involved. But I feel like the idea of like setting a cue, especially if you have buy-in from the player beforehand, if they're like, oh yeah, I'm going to be possessed by a demon, like that would let them do their own stuff and feel natural about it without like serious coordination.
Yeah, and it's fun. They'll go and if nobody likes it, don't do it again.
That's the biggest thing.
Because your group didn't like it, and that's fine. Not everybody, not everything is going to work for every group.
I just can't imagine possession as a super recurring thing being super compelling. Like even, I was just thinking, the spell Magic Jar? Maybe you don't.
Oh, yeah. Your soul goes into a thing. And
yeah.
You send your soul out and you can...
Well, I think it's that you take someone's soul and put it in, and then you can put your soul into their stuff. But the primary action is you just steal someone's soul and then you could possess their body. And it's just like... I don't know. It's just such this big spell. And it's like, it just seems so specific and like, I don't know. It's a high level spell. So maybe it's like supposed to be like in movies or stuff when you switch bodies as a witch or something.
Well, it's a high level spell with a very specific use.
But like mostly narrative.
Yeah.
It's like, I can't imagine a player character being like, I'm going to soul jar my way out of this. Like, it's just weird.
It depends. I mean, it depends on
it's useful.
If they play it as like, if they play it combat or they are like a utility driven. I don't know. I use my spells to do narrative stuff a lot because that's the character I'm playing.
Well, no, I just mean like I see opportunities for a DM to use the Magic Jar spell, but as a player, it just seems like either overpowered or very specific, weird way to solve a problem.
I know what you mean. It feels like a spell that is in there so that villains can cast it on your players.
Yeah, because otherwise you could just like disguise as someone 9 times out of 10, and then it's like you get that 2 levels earlier or something. Like,
but you could also do disguise self or.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you could just polymorph. Like, that's what whatever. This is so in the weeds. I mean, I guess this is the podcast for it, but it just seems like I'm being an asshole.
No, it's fine. It was really cool when they did it on the Adventure Zone.
Oh, yeah?
It led to a really
Magic Jar?
It led to a really good narrative moment near the end of the series. Yeah.
So
like
it was
they
used for narrative.
and like some other things. And like after somebody's soul had already been cast out, somebody did it to try to get that back, and it was a really good moment. I think it was like the best moment of the series.
Was it cast by a player or was it like an NPC?
It was cast by a player in response to something an NPC had done.
How did they get? So they're that high level?
Yeah, but it was near the end, so they were like level 16.
That's still
they went up 2 levels every time they did an arc, and an arc was like
how many arcs?
8 hours. Like 7.
Okay.
I think by the end they're like 16 or something.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, like it was an interesting mechanic to like keep jumping them up and be like, know from the beginning they're going to do 7 arcs and they're going to go up 2 levels every time.
That's we didn't actually put the levels in Harmon Quest like in the narrative.
I was curious about that.
But we did do that behind the scenes. There's a lot of stuff that we set up and then we just didn't lay as pipe, and so it's like, well, we can't explain this in any way now. So okay, I guess it's just behind the scenes stuff. But yeah, we stopped in the second season because like to kind of underscore how everyone was just bad at their jobs. They stopped kind of gaining levels every time, but in the first season they gain levels every episode or every 2 episodes.
Oh shit, they're really strong by the end.
Well, they got like from level 1 to like level. It was every 2 episodes, so they're like level 8 and level 9 by the end, something like that. And anyway, not important, but
it's interesting though.
Yeah, it's interesting for hopefully 3 of you. That'll be good enough for me. Well, that's all the questions.
All right, do you want to do an alternate lore monster?
Yeah, so let's break into the next segment. Let's do alternate monster lore.
All right. I think you picked vampires last time.
Yeah?
Yeah. Shit.
That means you'll pick the monster this time.
I know. Yeah, I thought.
No, this is for them.
I thought I was gonna. Yeah, I was like looking around trying to think of.
Note card monsters. Door monster.
Robots.
Okay, robots. Well, let's drill down.
Okay.
Specific robots. There's automatons. There's iron golems. There's clay golems. There's animated objects. Animated objects is too broad. Golems might even be too broad.
Yeah, because I think like these are things that have a lot of different interpretations. Anyway. Right. Mummies.
Mummies. Okay.
Mummies. Keeping it undead.
Okay, so mummies traditionally known as dry.
Yeah.
So last time we did this, we kind of talked through just the tropes, the concept of mummies. So let's just go through.
They give you a curse.
Mummy's curse, sarcophagus.
They're typically it's a disturbed tomb.
Right.
Some kind of rite was performed. They're wrapped in linens.
Right. Funeral. It's about like preserving your death and afterlife. What else? The organs.
You have perturbed something that should not have been messed with.
Right. Ancient secrets.
They're wrapped in linens.
Disrespect. Pyramids, Egypt, sand, dryness, zombies, dead.
Not that D&D needs all that shit for the. They'll just throw a mummy at you.
I'm just tossing out tropes, you know.
The thing I've always liked about mummies is they're relentless.
Right.
It's like a mummy is it's coming for you.
Right. Or the curse of the mummy never ends until you die.
Yeah,
you know?
like he's going to come and kill you.
And mummy rot is like a really bad disease that's hard to cure in D&D usually. So it's inexorable is kind of a part of it. And also it's like time, you know, it's like they're historically like they withstood this test of time. So almost like
they're going to outlast you.
Right. The march of time is like they're indicative of inevitability in a way.
They're a metaphor for they're a memento mori. It's like the mummy is going to get you eventually.
Right. I guess
something will.
Undead are generally that, but I think mummies more even are more like the crushing weight of history.
Mummies for me, the thing is that you can leave and you can go home.
Right.
And the mummy is going to come get you.
Yeah.
That's not something that is always true for like a vampire or a zombie. Like I feel like in that it's like their lair, but it's like I never think about the mummy killing you in the mummy's tomb. It's like he's going to come for you later.
Right. People don't know this, but the main boogans from It Follows was a mummy.
Huh.
So it was a doppelganger mummy, but there you go.
Wow. Mystery solved.
Follows you have sex and you get the mummy's curse and then you die.
Okay. I have a really good idea because from saying mystery solved.
Great.
Mystery solving mummy.
Mystery solve. So this is like, okay, so it's a dead. Are they interred with a question or a field of study, or do they die and their angry spirit has the field of study? Like they don't like if someone murdered them, they're obsessed with who murdered them. For instance,
I think they die, and you have created a mummy. And this is maybe a little bit too close to golems, but I think you would. There's a slot on the sarcophagus, like with the mouth,
right,
and then you can like feed a mystery in and be like, I want to know who killed my father.
Right.
I want to know who robbed our, tomb, I guess. And then like, if it's interesting enough, at some point the mummy will rise out of the sarcophagus and like go hunt it down.
Right.
And like be cracking the clues and solving the case.
Yeah. So to elaborate, or maybe an alternate pitch of that is like I imagine like almost that it's like the sacrifice victim is like killed for this question, and it's a big ritual and part of the interring of the zombie.
This is way better. Yeah.
It's like the ritual. You take out this organ and you put it back in, but it's all part of the
they write the information on the linens that they use to wrap you up.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, so it's like it's all part of the process is getting, and maybe it gives them the knowledge they need to understand the topics. It's so like, if it's like a marine biology
so it's not just murders,
life.
it's like any question.
Like, I mean, I don't know.
I love this because it's like, hey, what is God?
Right.
And if you put that on a mummy,
Yeah.
and it's like then
in 3,000
he has
years
to go find that out.
Yeah.
He's gonna spend like he might spend.
Yeah.
He might. So maybe, oh God, you could like give a mummy like some like existentially huge question or task.
Yeah.
I think question. I think I don't, because otherwise it's too golems.
Yeah, question, like I would say question or a field of study, just in like you could just say like learn about like, again, marine biology, and then it would just like become a master of it. And I don't even know. Yeah, I guess a question is better.
But it would pursue like everything in
For eternity.
In service of that. So it would be like gaining wild ancient powers and having plans and machinations, but it would all be in the service of this like very mundane, simple question, like
Right.
Like universal paperclips style, like, oh, it's going to find out about all the marine biology, even so it's very easy for this to become like, oh, this is a world threatening thing.
Yeah, no, so it's almost like it occupies the role of, say, a lich or something, maybe not quite to the level of a lich, but it's like it's this powerful undead that kind of spirals into like even greater power, and it kind of that's also kind of like a golem that it kind of spirals out.
I like its motivation.
Yeah.
And I like all of this applied to some thing, like, oh, find out, count all the sharks.
Right.
How many sharks are there? And it's like the things that a mummy would have to do, but they can do because it's a world with magic and ancient life and like undead life and like powers in it. So it's like maybe it just kills all the sharks. Maybe that's how it counts it. Maybe it starts by draining the ocean.
Right.
And then it just is walking around and like counting them one by one. That would be.
Yeah, so that's kind of like golems too, but in a good way. Like, I like that. But yeah, so, or like it could, I don't even know, but you could say like, oh, discover the history of this lost goblin empire, and then maybe it like tries to like get all of the goblins into a big hole or something.
Yeah,
that's a bad pitch.
Or maybe it ends up like ruling the goblins because it has to trust them, and then these goblins are ruled by this like, and then the interesting thing is where this runs into like your players,
right?
Who are like, why is this mummy leading these goblins? And it's like, oh, that's a search engine mummy.
Right. It's a mystery solving mummy.
Yeah, that's
mystery mummy.
It's a mystery mummy.
It's a mummy mystery.
I guess somebody told it to learn about goblins, and the easiest way for it to do that was to become their king.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I like that because like it lets you. I feel like there's a lot of. One of the things I like as a DM is like misdirection, and what you thought was something is the opposite.
Yeah.
And like the idea that you can have, say, a circumstance or a weird anomaly happening, and you go discover it, and then like you maybe, you clear out the goblins or whatever, but then it's like something's off, and it turns out something's off because like it's actually just this random crazy golem mummy gone nuts in a ways that no one can imagine. And you might not even immediately, you might just be like, there's traces of necromancy, and so it's like, is it a lich? And it's like, it's not acting like a lich, and then it's like, oh, like this was never an intelligent foe, this was like this crazy psycho mummy.
It's basically like an AI,
right?
Gone insane,
or
because it's pursuing things with like in a
arcane
way that does not make sense to a human brain,
mm-hmm.
and with it's not getting bored.
Yeah,
it's not. It doesn't obey like normal tenets of. So like you might tell the mummy to learn about beach vampires, and then it just buries itself in the sand,
right?
And then like walks into the sea.
And it disguises itself as a surfboard that the beach vampires sometimes use.
I like it.
Yeah, so that's that one. I guess that's the end of the show. Well, this is now the end of the show. So do you have anything you want to plug?
Not shit. Do I? I don't know. Not really. Not this time.
Yeah.
I'll probably remember 8 things later.
Right.
I should write it down.
Harmontown, Harmon Quest.
Oh, yeah.
Check it out. What else? We're on Twitter and stuff, but we plugged that last time. We can't plug it every time. We could plug it sometimes, but probably not every time. That
Cohen is
annoying.
a ghost. That's me.
Not me. Not me.
That you only get one this time.
You only get one. So yeah, let's hear the soothing sounds of playing us out. Oh wait, no, check us out on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, Twitter. These are all placeholder. I'll probably cut something in with being like, actually you can follow us on, something like that, but not right now because we're just recording.
Hey guys, it's me, Spencer. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at mastermanualpod. Email us at mastermanualpod@gmail.com. Check us out on Facebook, Master Manual.
So, is from us here at Master Manual. Mastery is manual.
That's another. We booked it again.
We booked it again.
There we go. Fucking sucks.
That was so good. Oh, yeah. Another good episode, huh?
All right.